What's going on, guys? It is Bernardo, and today is all about how to install NetAlertX within Debian using Docker. So let's get right into it. All right, so today is all about installing NetAlertX within Debian. One thing, I don't have a Debian machine, so I'm going to show you guys how I actually created one and installed the operating system to install NetAlertX. And within that Debian OS, right, inside that Debian server or whatever you want to call it, we're going to install Docker, get NetAlertX, up and running using Docker, and that's it. So let's get right into it. So what is NetAlertX? Yes, it's a network tool that scans your local network to detect, connect devices, and track when new devices appear or disappear. It provides alerts and notifications when unknown or suspicious devices connect to your network. This is pretty cool. And then last but not least, it helps admins to monitor, log, and visualize network activity, which is good. So first thing that I did was I created a virtual machine and I downloaded the Debian iOS image within the Debian site. I loaded the image file and I booted up the virtual machine to get this. Yes. I'm going to hit enter because I want to use the graphical installation. I'm going to select English and I'm going to click on continue. My location is United States, so I'm going to click continue. My keyboard is an American English, so click continue. It's going to start loading all the components and eventually it's going to give me this. It's time for me to configure my network. Actually, it's time to enter my host name, so I provided the particular host name. And I clicked on continue. For the domain name, because I'm actually doing this within my domain, it picked it up automatically, which is great. But if it does not pick it up, make sure you enter your domain name. If you don't have anything, just leave it blank. I clicked on continue. Provide a root password as well as re-enter your root password. And then hit continue. Provide a new user. Now, you're not going to be logging into your Debian machine as root. You're going to be logging into whatever user account you provide. So I gave it the following, and I'm going to click continue again, and provide a password for your new user. So once you provide a new password, make sure you verify the password by re-entering the password. So do that, and then click continue. For the clock, I left it as Eastern, so I clicked on continue, and it's going to start with the partitions. And eventually you're going to get this. I'm going to do the first option, use an entire disk, so click continue. I only have one disk, click continue. I'm going to use the first option again, all files in one partition, and then click continue. And finish partitioning and write the changes to the disk. Make sure that it is selected and then click on continue. Write the changes to the disk. By default, it is set to no, so make sure you select yes, and then click on continue. And it's going to start partitioning and formatting. And eventually you're going to get this. Now this is up to you. I typically say no, and I just click on continue. Configure the package manager. For me, I selected United States, and then I click continue. And then make sure you pick the proper mirror. Typically I use the default one, and that's this one, because that's the one that's always selected. So I click on continue. For proxy, I typically don't use a proxy, so I left it as blank, and I clicked on continue. It's going to start configuring the package manager, and eventually it's going to start installing the software, and you're going to get the following. Great. From here, this is up to you. I typically would say participate in package usage survey. I typically say no, and I click on continue. Pick your flavor. I typically leave everything as the default. Even though I should have picked SSH server, I am going to install SSH server pretty soon. I should have done it here, but I didn't. But that's okay. I'm going to click continue. It's going to start installing the software, and eventually you're going to get this. It is time to install the bootloader. So I typically say yes here and click on continue. I'm going to select my device, which would be the SDA, and then click on continue. And it's going to start installing the bootloader. And eventually it's going to start finishing the installation, and you should get this. Installation is completed. Great. Remove the ISO image, click on continue. It's going to finalize everything. It's going to reboot itself. And then once it reboots, you should get this. This is good. We're going to click on our account. We're going to type in our password and we're going to hit enter. and it's going to welcome us into our new desktop. I'm going to click on skip. On the lower right hand side, I'm going to click on those 9 little dots. I call it the grid, so click on that. And I'm going to select terminal. So click on terminal. Excellent. Now, first thing that I typically like to do is the following command, updates. So I'm going to hit enter. I enter my password and bam. My account's not able to do sudo. No. So we're going to fix that. So I'm going to run the following. su with a dash, hit enter, and provide the password. Now, this is for super user, which would be root. So once you enter the password, hit enter. Excellent. So now you're logged in as root, and we're going to enter the following command. We're going to give BTNHD root access, so hit enter, and then initiate a reboot command, and then hit enter here. It's going to start rebooting. Once you reboot, log back in, open up your terminal, which will be right here, and we're going to run the following command. Now, this command is basically to check if I am a root user. So hit enter, provide your user password, not the root password, your user password. If everything works well, you should get this, root. Great. Now, let's rerun that first command to do updates and hit enter. Great. We're going to run the following command to do upgrades, hit enter. Excellent. Everything is upgraded. Everything is patched up, which is awesome. Now, it is time for us to install OpenSSH. I should have done it during the installation part, but I didn't. So I'm going to run the following command and I'm going to hit enter. It's going to start reading the database. It's going to start installing, and eventually you're going to get this, which is great. Now, to check the services, I typically like to run this command, and I'm going to hit enter. Everything's enabled. Everything is active. Everything is running. Now, to make sure when I reboot the server that the services are up and running again, like automatic start, I like to run this command, and I'm going to hit enter. Now, another thing that I like to install with a lot of my Linux machines, I like to install fastfetch. So I'm going to run the following command, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to start installing, and eventually you're going to get this done. Now, to use fastfetch, I'm going to enter the following command and then hit enter. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is just to show you guys what type of machine I'm running and all that other good stuff, right? Now that we have OpenSSH server installed in this machine, I am going to head over into my host machine, and I'm going to open up Putty. I'm going to enter the IP address of that machine, and I am going to click on open. I'm going to click accept, and I'm going to enter my username, hit enter, and then enter my password, and then hit enter. Now, to show you guys that I am actually logged into the machine that we installed, I'm going to run fastfetch. And I'm going to hit enter here. Bingo. Awesome. Lately, a lot of my stuff that I've been doing within my lab, I like to create cheat sheets with all the commands already built out, so I won't make a mistake when I'm typing them in. So I type them in first within a text file. I make sure the spelling is correct, make sure everything, the parameters and all that good stuff. And then I save the file, and all I have to do is just copy and paste. So that's what I did for this particular setup. So here's my cheat sheet. And if you guys want to copy, let me know at the bottom of the description. Say, hey, Bernardo, where's the cheat sheet? Give us the cheat sheet. I typically forget to give you guys the cheat sheet, but just hit me up at the description. So this is what I'm going to be copying and pasting into the terminal. Okay. I do have notes. I will add more notes and put it into my GitHub repository and then push it out to you guys if you want this cheat sheet. So let's head over to the terminal and type in the first command. Awesome. We're going to be installing the CA certificates and hit enter. Enter your password and then hit enter. And we're done. We're going to run the following command. This is going to install the key rings and also set a couple of permissions. And we're going to hit enter here. Now, the next command, we're going to enter the following. And this is going to download the Docker stuff for us and hit enter. Now, this is the GPG for Docker. So hit enter here. Excellent. Now, next command that we're going to run will be the following. And we're going to be configuring the permissions for that docker.gpg file that we downloaded. So we're going to hit enter here. Great. Now the next command that we're going to be running will be the following. And we're going to hit enter. Now the next command that I'm going to do will be the following. And it's time to do a app update. Hit enter. Now next command will be the following. It is time for us to install the Docker stuff within Debian. So we're going to hit enter. It's going to start downloading everything, installing everything, and eventually you're going to get this. Bingo, everything is done. Now, we're going to run the following command. This command is basically checking what version you have installed inside your Debian machine for Docker. Hit enter, and we're running the following. Great. Version 29. Right, 29? Yes, 29. We're going to run the following command, and we're going to be using user mod, Docker, and the user. We're going to hit enter. Great. We're going to run the following command, and we're going to be new group Docker. Hit enter, and I'm going to run the following command. We're going to be checking the status of the Docker services. Looks like everything is enabled. Everything is up and running. Great. Now, as always, when you're dealing with services, got to make sure that they are enabled. So when you restart the server or the machine or whatever the workstation, those services are up and running again automatically. So we're going to type in the following command, and we're going to hit enter. Great. Now, next command that we're going to type in would be the following. Docker Compose version. By default, Compose is already installed when you did the Docker stuff, but just to make sure it is there, we're going to be running this command. So we're going to hit enter. Now, we're going to be running the following command. We're going to be making a directory for our NetAlertX, and we're going to create a folder within that folder called data. This is best practice of how NetAlertX did their how-to guide for installation. So hit enter here. Great. Now we're going to get into the root of NetAlertX. We're going to hit enter. We're going to run the following command. We're going to create a YAML file, and we're going to be using nano. So hit enter here. Now, what to enter here? I copied and pasted from their website, and here it goes. And that's it. They gave you everything that you needed to get up and running. So I'm actually doing a Control-O to write out. I'm going to hit enter, and then a Control-X to exit out. I'm going to do a cat dockercompose.yaml just to see the content of it. Excellent. Everything is there. Everything looks good. I'm going to run the following command to start up the Docker Compose and hit enter. It's going to start pulling, and eventually, bam, it is started. Great. Now, to check things, to make sure that your container and your image is up and running, we could run the following command, docker ps, hit enter. There goes our new image. Our container is up and running. Now, I went into my pfSense firewall, and I created a port forward for a third one, right? 192.168.1.112 with a port of 6767. That is my NetAlertX. The reason why I did this is because I want to access that website outside of my virtual machine. So that's how I did it. So I opened up a new tab. I typed in my WAM IP address of my VMware infrastructure, which is this. It's a little different. It's not 192.168.1.112 because that is the IP address of my NetAlert. But because we're doing a port forwarding and I also assign a particular port, I'm able to do it this way and hit enter. And then bam, there goes the site. I already picked up a couple of my devices within my network, which is great. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.